Good evening. I'll call to order the Jefferson County Commission meeting for Thursday, June 18th, 2020. It's approximately 6:02 p.m. Stephanie, I'm asking our county administrator to explain a little bit of this virtual meeting protocol, because it's a learning experience for us all, and want the public to understand all the different working parts of the virtual meeting.
So we chose, when the COVID-19 pandemic started, there were a lot of virtual platforms. There's Zoom, there's GoToMeeting. They didn't allow the commission or any board to really function in the way that they would if they were in person. So I reached out to our IT department and I said, what can we do for something that would still allow public comments, still allow the commission to interface with people who make presentations, but also prevent interaction when really it should just be the commission discussing or deliberating a decision. And that was something I noticed with some of the other boards and commissions, that the board would be deliberating a decision and individuals would chime in during the deliberation. And so we chose GoToWebinar. And the way that that is set up is that it allows for organizers, you can only have 2 organizers. That is usually me and one of my staff people. So if someone is muting you or removing you or something like that, it's probably me, not a commissioner. They don't have the capability to do that. So I have that access. I'm the organizer, and then our executive assistant is the other organizer for this meeting. The next level of permission is the panelist, and the commissioners are all panelists, and anyone who's making a presentation to the commission is a panelist. And I think panelists can unmute themselves, but if I mute them, then I also have to unmute you. But I think they can unmute themselves. But if you are a panelist and you're not a county commissioner, please know that you should really only be interacting during the time that your item is up for discussion with the county commission. So just because you're a panelist and you have the ability to interject with the commission, it really should only be during the public comment. If you wanted to make public comment, you can do that. Or when your item is on the agenda. Otherwise, we would like you to keep yourself muted during the rest of the agenda items. And then the category with the lowest set of permission is attendees, and that's anybody from the public. And attendees can't unmute themselves. Only I can unmute them. Only I can ask them to share their camera. They don't have any ability to do any of that. That is all through an organizer. And I'm the one, again, I can see the list. I can see the list of attendees. I can see the list of panelists. So that is the format that we chose. And we also chose it because it would allow for public comment. And that was really important to the commission, that we still allow a platform for public comments. We didn't want to cut that off, even though we are meeting in a different format. I did ask some people who were outside of our network to raise their hand to ensure that that was working, because initially we had people who were taking advantage of it. In our last couple of meetings, we haven't had anyone who wanted to give public comment. So my mother, who loves me so much that she watches almost every county commission meeting, is logged in outside of my network, sitting at home, and I asked her to raise her hand just to see if that function was working, and it was working. So she was able to raise her hand to indicate that she wanted to make public comment. So that function is working, even though that no one has been taking advantage of it. You do have the ability, if you'd like to make public comment, there's a little icon where you can click to raise your hand, and if you do that, I will unmute you and you will have the ability to make public comment for 3 minutes, just like you would in a regular county commission meeting. And I think unless any commissioners have any questions about the format, I think that that's everything you need to know about how the meeting is working with this format that we've chosen. Jane, I think you're muted.
Now,
There we
okay.
go.
All right. Challenges for us all.
Yeah.
Do I have any questions from fellow commissioners? All right. I'm not hearing any. I would like to ask Patsy to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. I'd be happy to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move to the approval of the June 4th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second,
I have a small correction. On page 3, approval of payroll, there's no, which is no problem. There's no graph or, list of payroll expenses, but I did find my papers, that amount didn't look right to me. So I think it's the same amount that was on the previous page, which was the check register. So I looked at May 28th, 2020 payroll, and it was $259,322.84. So I would like to note that correction, if that is all right with the motioner and the seconder. It's on page. Okay.
yes, that's fine.
All right. Any other questions or discussion on the minutes? The motion is to approve the June 4th County Commission meeting minutes with the noted correction. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Now we'll move on to approval of the June 18th, 2020 requisitions.
I'll move approval of the June 18th requisitions in the amount of $8,071.61.
Second.
Do we have any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approval of June 18th, 2020 requisitions, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I can't always hear when everybody's voting, so I'm trying to make myself wait to know that if anybody's opposed, please speak up, because I can't always hear your individual voices. Moving on to approval of accounts payable for June 11th, 2020.
I'll move we approve accounts payable for June 11th, 2020 in the amount of $299,969.87. Second.
Okay, do we have any questions or discussion on that motion? All those in favor of approval of accounts payable for June 11th, 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'll go on to the June 18th accounts payable.
I'll move we approve June 18th, 2020 accounts payable in the amount of $250,571.87.
Second,
Okay. Questions or discussion? All those in favor of approval of accounts payable June 18th, 2020, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to manual checks for June 12th.
I'll move approval of manual checks for June 12th in the amount of $210,697.80.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving manual checks for June 12th, 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. June 19th, 2020 manual checks.
I'll move
I move
approval.
we approve manual check for June 19th, 2020, in the amount of $8,896.86.
Second.
Okay, questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving June 19th, 2020 manual checks, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Ralph, were you opposing or you were voting for this?
I was voting for it.
Okay, all right, it just came in a little late for me, went on my hearing. Okay, so that was unanimous. Approval of payroll for June 11th, 2020.
I'll move approval of payroll for June 11, 2020 in the amount of $274,253.46.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving June 11th, 2020 payroll, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Now we have payroll for poll workers, which is dated June 12th, 2020.
I'll move approval for poll worker payroll for dated June 12, 2020 in the amount of $47,904.61.
Second.
Second.
Okay, any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving payroll for June 12th, 2020 for poll workers, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I just want to thank all our poll workers. I know we had a lot of new folks and we had a challenging type of election process to go through. And I'm very grateful that you folks took the training and had a long election day. But thank you so much for your service to the county. Announcements? Stephanie, do you have anything?
I don't have any changes to the agenda. There are some things that I would like to discuss under my report, but we don't need to discuss them now.
Okay.
But other than that, there are no changes.
Okay. Public comment.
Okay, so we have about 8 attendees, including my mother. But if anyone is interested in making public comment, you can use the raise your hand function and I will unmute you and you will be able to make public comment and you'll be allotted 3 minutes just like you were in a regular meeting. So if there's any individual who's an attendee who would like to make public comments, feel free to raise your hand now and you can do that. And some of the people, so we have 8 attendees and there are 2 staff members. So it looks like we have 6 people from the public attending. And again, if someone is listening and they try to use this function, it doesn't work for them, please let me know and we'll look into that. Like I said, I did have individuals who are not within our network try it and it did work. But if you are having issues, you wanted to make public comment and you couldn't do it or you didn't see the raise your hand function, you can always contact me and we'll figure out what's going on. But as far as I know, it is working. I'm not seeing anyone who is volunteering to make public comment. And I don't think we received any written comment this week.
That was my next question.
I don't think that we did.
I think there was one in the agenda packet.
Oh, maybe there was.
That was probably from last week.
Yeah, that was probably from last
It
week.
was the same,
That-
yeah.
Let me check my inbox really quickly, but I really don't think that, I didn't remember it seeing, I usually read it ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it was information from last week.
Yeah, so we do,
Yes, it
Yeah.
was June 4th. Yes.
Yeah,
So
I
if
see
we
the
get-
date, yeah.
if we get written public comment, then we do end up putting it in the correspondence section of the agenda for the next for the next.
Plus you read it out loud during the meeting.
That is
but-
correct, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, no public comment?
Yes, and Jessica is telling me that we did not receive any public comment this week. So,
Okay, by email or dropped off at the office, right?
and I did
Okay.
not, there are no takers from our attendee list on individuals who want to make public comment.
Okay. It's a few minutes early, but is our Madam Assessor online?
She was earlier. Yes, she's here. Angie, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Yep, loud and
Okay.
clear. Go ahead.
I have 5 exonerations. The first one is in our 2018 personal property book, Charlestown Corporation. The taxpayer was double assessed for a 2000 Hyundai Azera, assessed value $2,100, tax amount $59.44. Applicant is Kellen Pelham, ticket number 306342.
All right, I move we approve the exoneration ticket number 306342 as presented by the assessor.
Second.
Okay, the exoneration is before us for approval. Ticket number 306342. Questions, discussion? All those in favor of approval, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead, Angie.
This next one is in our 2019 personal property book, Charlestown District. Taxpayer did not own the 2000 Ford F-250, July 1st, 2018. Assessed value $3,900. Tax amount $90.45. The taxpayer is Ellen Walters. Ticket number 304851.
I'll move approval of the exoneration of ticket number 304851 as presented by the assessor.
Second.
Do we have any questions or discussion? All those in favor of the exoneration for ticket number 304851, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And that taxpayer actually got a new bill on a newer vehicle that we created.
Okay.
This next one is actually a 2020 personal property bill in Middle Way District. It's a business account that was over assessed by $6,700. Assessed value, tax amount $152.49. The business name is Delage Ladden Financial. Ticket number 312169.
I move we approve the exoneration ticket number 312169 as presented by the assessor.
Second.
Do we have any questions or discussion on this exoneration? All those in favor of approving the exoneration 312169, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
This next one is in our 2019 land book, Shepherdstown District. A correction was made to the square foot of the house. The assessed value difference is $10,700. Tax amount $124.08. The applicant is Daniel Thomas. Ticket number 29501.
I'll move approval of the exoneration for ticket number 29501 as presented by the assessor.
Second.
Second.
Okay, the exoneration is before us. All those in favor of approving the exoneration for ticket number 29501, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All righty, motion carries unanimously. Angie, last one?
Yes, the last one is in our 2020 real estate book, Cabletown District. This was an erroneous assessment. It was a back tax, but for some reason it printed twice. So we have to get rid of one of the tickets. It is Cabletown District, map 6K, parcel 7, section 21F, lot number 56, Shannondale, assessed value $12,200, tax amount $299.92. The taxpayer is Thomas Burden, ticket number 16352.
I move we approve the exoneration ticket number 16352 as presented by the assessor.
Second.
Okay, any questions or discussion on the exoneration as presented? All those in favor of approving exoneration ticket number 16352, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is that
Okay,
everything?
that's all the exonerations. Yes, it is, and have a nice evening.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you.
much. We're running a little ahead, but is the clerk available?
She
I am
is,
here.
there she is. Okay.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's not too loud, but I can hear you.
Okay. Good evening. And I'm here to request the approval for the depository bonds for the 2020-21 to be approved with the 4 banks that we have accounts with. The sheriff requested an increase with the Bank of Charlestown from 15 million to 16 million. And he requested an increase for BB&T from 1 million to 1,500,000. And Jefferson Security Bank is going to remain the same at 750,000, and the United National Bank will remain the same at 2,500,000. And all of these depository bonds have been signed by our prosecuting attorney.
All righty. Do I have a motion or any questions?
I move that the depository bonds for 2020, 2021 be approved as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the matter? All those in favor of approving the depository bonds for the 2021 fiscal year that they be approved as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. And just want to say, Madam Clerk, your staff did an awesome job with the election and with the canvassing. We got through it faster than I thought we would. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. Stephanie,
We also have
sorry, go ahead.
Alex is here. She's online if you want to go ahead and take her item.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. Go ahead, Alex.
Okay. Well, both the first item is just to request a refund of an application fee for Patrick Shunny. We began processing a variance for him and then determined he didn't need it. The application fee is $100, so we are requesting a full refund on his behalf.
All right, I move we recommend a full refund of the $100 zoning variance fee to Patrick Shunny.
Second.
Okay. The motion is before us to refund the variance application fee of $100. Questions or discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Go ahead, Alex. I think you have another one, don't you?
Yes, there's one more. It's the same thing. It's a variance application fee in the amount of $100. This one is for Jennifer Blimline. She was processing a variance to have an increase in height for her fence so it could go along the property line. And then after getting a price estimate, determined she didn't want to go at that height anymore. So we're requesting a full refund on her behalf.
Okay.
I'll move approval of the zoning application variance fee in the amount of $100 for Jennifer Blimline. Blimline, I think it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
All right. We have the motion before us for a $100 refund through the zoning administrator. Have any questions or discussion? All those in favor of the refund, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries
Thank you very
unanimously. All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
We are zinging through these agenda items. I'm
So
not-
we have two of the City of Charlestown
Oh, okay.
nominees, but we don't have the third. I'm not sure whether the third is able to attend or not, and it is a little early.
Yeah.
So we're like 20 minutes early. So we could go through some of the other things on the agenda if you want to see.
Yes. We can ask Nathan if he has anything that can be discussed publicly, or if we will need to go into executive session later.
I have one thing that that we can discuss, and I would draw your attention to the agenda. Near the bottom of my portion, it says discussion of Jefferson County Circuit Court Civil Action 20C26. And that I'm just reporting to you, that was a civil suit that was filed by a person who, it's kind of complicated, but just to make it really simple, it was filed by a person who is trying to clear up title for some real estate. And there were a whole bunch of defendants, one of whom was our assessor. Let me be very clear that the assessor was not alleged to have done anything wrong or improper. She was what we would call a nominal defendant, simply because the plaintiff believed that she should be involved in the lawsuit in order to clear up any possibility of there being some tax issues or anything like that with relationship to this title. After a considerable delay and quite a few discussions because of brought on in part because of the C-19 issue and the court closure and all that. But anyway, after that delay in discussions, I obtained basically a dismissal of the lawsuit by just providing the plaintiff with information and assurance that there weren't no taxes due. So that case is now dismissed. I just wanted to report to you that that case had been resolved. Again, just want to make it clear that the assessor was not sued because of any wrongdoing on her part or any allegation of wrongdoing. She was just named as a nominal defendant in order to make sure that there were no taxes owed on the property that this plaintiff's attorney was trying to clear up the title on. And really, that's all that I have in my list. So that I'm going to deal with tonight.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. We like it nice and short, and you were able to accomplish that again. So thank you very much.
I can go longer if you want.
No, I said thank you very much.
I could also mute him.
Yeah, I know. The power. You should
It's
say.
distressing. I think you should take, maybe we get Sandy or someone responsible to sit next to her to make sure she doesn't use the power wrongfully.
Okay. Can we move on to number 6, the employment of Jefferson County Executive Director? I think this will basically be a ratification.
It will be, we didn't have his name in the minutes before because the Development Authority wanted to make that press release. So we're putting it on today so that we can just add his name for purposes of payroll. It's required before we add someone to the payroll. So it's
Right.
Dennis Jarvis, I think, is that?
Right.
And you just need to add him.
That's right.
Ratify last week's decisions and add his name in the minutes.
I move that we ratify the employment of Jefferson County Development Authority Executive Director, whose name is Dennis Jarvis, effective July 6th. Yep. Okay.
Did I hear a second?
Yep.
I think Josh,
Okay.
somebody did.
All right, I thought so. Well, and I just, for the record, I want to say we are employing Dennis Jarvis the second. So that's important too, because I have a husband that's the third, and a son that's a fourth, and a grandson that's a fifth, and it gets a little confusing. So, all right. The motion before us is to ratify, well, we're ratifying a previous motion and making public the name of Dennis Jarvis II as the Executive Director for the Development Authority, effective July 6, 2020. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
I'm going to say opposed, be consistent with my prior vote.
Okay. Well, I'd like, if Mr. Jarvis is listening for whatever reason, glad to have you on board, and I look forward to meeting you in person in the near future from a socially distant. Okay, we're still early. Stephanie, County Administrator reports.
So I put on the July 2nd regular meeting. Sometimes we cancel that meeting before the 4th of July and sometimes we don't. It's the day before the 4th of July holiday, which falls on July 3rd. The actual day off falls on a Friday because July 4th is on a Saturday.
Oh,
So I
okay.
just put that on there. I didn't know if you wanted to have that meeting or cancel. Whatever you decide to do, we'll do. Sometimes we have people out on vacation that week, but it's up to you guys if you want to keep it. I just put it on there just if you want it to, because we have in the past. Sometimes, not always.
But well, I'll ask a question. Do we have anything pressing that you are expecting to come up that week?
So we don't. The only thing that we would have had would have been, we have a lot of board appointments that expire in June, but I already told Jess to let them to do the notices for the second meeting in July, just because also that's an evening meeting. And there were so many of them. So I'm not aware of anything pressing. My staff hasn't told me of anything pressing that would come up on the July 2nd meeting. And we also do have a third meeting the month of July.
Well, then I'm going to move that we not meet on July 2nd.
Does that include a barbecue at your house?
If you're cooking.
Do I hear a second?
I'll
give a second.
Okay. The motion before us is to cancel the July 2nd, 2020 regular meeting in light of the July 4th holiday weekend and that July 3rd is a holiday, a West Virginia holiday for staff. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
The next item under my report is discussion of the certification 2020 primary election. You can certify the local races. It's been 48 hours. You could certify those now, but you still have to wait for the state races. Nikki told me that they're still waiting on Harrison, and I don't want to get this wrong, Harrison and Morgan County to certify their results. So we cannot certify those state races until 48 hours after the last county comes in, and any race that would cross county lines. So we could probably do it, Berkeley County. We have some representatives who are in Jefferson and Berkeley. We could probably do those, but otherwise we still have to wait for the state races. So we can't even set a date yet because we don't have Harrison and Morgan reporting.
Well, given that we've canceled the July 2nd meeting, we may have to call, I would think, a special session to certify, because I wouldn't want candidates to be hanging out there, waiting for us.
You typically do call a special session for the certification. We usually don't, unless it just happens to align on a regular meeting, we usually call a special session.
Okay. But can we go ahead and certify the local races this evening?
Yeah, it says, I mean, it's on there. So yeah, you could certify the all of the nonpartisan local races and Board of Education, magistrate. You can't do circuit judge because that's in Morgan County. All the county level officials, you could go ahead and certify those.
Okay.
Well, I'll move that we certify the local races, including the nonpartisan races, Board of Education, magistrate, and the local county offices that were on the ballot.
Second.
Does that include delegates?
Anyone that does not cross the county border.
Morgan, yeah.
Representation doesn't cross county borders.
Okay. Everybody clear on the motion? All those in favor of certification of the 2020 primary election results for, quote, local races and nonpartisan, so forth, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, and I have a few other things that aren't listed.
Okay.
So they're kind of, so one of them is in our COVID-19 orders, we prohibited dispatchers from working as first responders or in healthcare where they might have a higher risk of exposure. I talked to the director. He feels like we could lift that now with some social distancing practices and masks. And I'm piggybacking on Nathan's review aspects of county policies and local government based on C19. So he asked if I would present to you lifting that prohibition for dispatchers and allowing them to go back if we have a few that work for the ESA, a couple of volunteers, and then we do have a few healthcare workers that I think are part-timers for dispatch, but we've not used them in a part-time capacity since this started. So he thinks he's ready to allow them back in the center. And he asked if you would modify that order, allowing him to go ahead and schedule but people who have full-time jobs outside in healthcare or other first responder areas, and also to allow his dispatchers to work part-time and volunteer as first responders.
Well,
so it would just be go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
Okay, no, I interrupted you.
Okay, well, I'll move that, that we lift the restriction on dispatchers and emergency service employees and allow them to go back to the jobs that they held prior to imposing the declaration.
Second.
Thanks.
You're on mute, Jane.
I want to clarify. Are we talking about only E911 dispatchers? Or are we also talking about ESA employees?
So we didn't impose it on the ESA, we only imposed it on the dispatchers, and we
Okay.
prohibited them from working at the ESA, volunteering, and then we didn't schedule any part-time people who had a full-time job either at the ESA, and we have some healthcare workers that are dispatchers part-time. So we didn't allow them to work part-time during that time. So it's really just the dispatchers that are the ones who, that's really the only people we had the authority to do. If the ESA wanted to impose that restriction upon their employees, they could have. But the dispatchers, and also it's, at that time, it was really difficult for them to, they can't really distance themselves in the center.
Right.
So we were worried that if we took out one dispatcher, it might take out a whole crew of dispatchers, and it would be difficult for us to backfill. So,
Well, I'll
Okay.
clarify my motion to clarify that the dispatchers, to make it effect, to include dispatchers.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Well, the motion before us is to restrict outside employment of our, to lift the restriction on our E911 dispatchers on outside employment or volunteer opportunities. We have any more questions or discussion?
Jane, just for the record, I didn't initially agree to this previously, so that's all I have to say.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I didn't hear everyone, but I assume everybody is approving of this motion?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Stephanie.
the next item I have is discussing, I spoke to Dr. Reedy about scheduling the town hall formats. He had the idea to include some other doctors as well that he thinks would be good resources for the community, and I think that's a really good idea. And I asked him what format he would prefer, whether he would prefer the GoToMeeting, which is a little more open. You can't control it as much as the GoToWebinar, but you can see everyone's faces like all at once, versus on GoToWebinar, if we have the number of panelists that he is suggesting, we would have room for one more camera, which would be the person who was asking a question from the town hall. The benefit to the GoToWebinar, which I spoke at before, is it allows us to kind of control, so people aren't, jumping into the conversation as Dr. Reedy or one of the other panelists is trying to explain something. They're not getting cut off by the public or, or interrupted so that they can finish their thought and present it. So I asked him what he preferred, and he said that he preferred, he said he wanted me to ask you what you all preferred, whether you wanted to use the GoToMeeting, which is a little, and it's fine if you want to use the GoToMeeting. It's just not as easy to kind of control when the questions are coming in and who's asking the question. It's basically the first person who could get a jump and ask the question, or the GoToWebinar format, which is what we're using here, which would require people to sign up as attendees and then use the raise your hand function, and then we would unmute them and they would be able to have a discussion for as long as they wanted, or as long as we thought was appropriate with the panelists, and ask questions. So he wanted to do it on Monday, but I haven't received back the contact information from the doctors who he wanted to invite. So I will see if he still wants to do that on Monday. But either way, he asked me to ask you what format you would like. Do you want the GoToWebinar, or do you want the more open GoToMeeting, which allows for, basically we'd see everybody's camera, and there's not like a way to control how the questions are coming in. Though we could ask people to, in advance, say that they had a question or something like that. So there's a way to do it. It's just not as a controlled atmosphere. And it doesn't matter to me. I'll organize whichever one you want.
Well, it would make sense to me to at least attempt to have some good organization so that everyone can hear what's being said. I think when everybody tries to chime in at the same time, it's difficult to hear anything. So I think if it can be better organized using the GoToMeeting, that's probably what we should do. And that's just my 2 cents.
You mean the GoToWebinar,
Right.
which is the more organized.
That's the one that's more organized? That's the, okay.
Yes. GoToMeeting owns both of them. They own GoToWebinar and GoToMeeting, but we are using GoToWebinar right now.
Okay, all right, then that's the one I think we should do.
I agree with Patsy.
Yeah, I too. Caleb or Ralph, what are your feelings?
I've been in meetings both ways, and it depends on how many people you actually have participating.
That's right.
I don't care either way.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay.
Well, I believe we have consensus to use GoToWebinar, and you will post on Facebook and do all that alerts and all that when you have a solid date and time.
We will, and we're going to do it in the evening. So it'll
Okay.
probably start at 6 whenever we do it. And then he had mentioned that he has some contacts that really work in community engagement. So he's going to ask them to get the word out as well so that we get some participation. Because I think he really does, he wants to interact with the public and he wants to tell people. And sometimes he's on, we have a 2 o'clock call every day, and sometimes he's on that call. And I feel like he always has good information to give. But the only people who are hearing it on the 2 o'clock call are basically, leaders in the community. It's not, just our actual citizens or public. It's someone, they have a reason to be on that call. So he wants to engage the public and he wants to get as much participation as we can. So he had some really great ideas about increasing participation in that meeting. But we'll put it out on all of our regular alerts and on our Facebook page and stuff like that so people know. And then the last thing that I have is that with our new payroll system, we are for the first time able to control what has been county policy for since at least 2015, which is the accruals of vacation time, which they all have a cap. It happens that the first time that we're able to do this also intersects with the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have some people, we have 2 situations. We have some people who couldn't take vacation because they were super essential. Actually, we have 3 situations. One is they were so essential that they just didn't have time to take vacation because they were required to be here working. The second is that we had some people who are going over on their vacation, but they were also receiving administrative leave with pay from us because we had reduced their hours, but still kept them on the payroll. And the third are people who have always carried over an astronomical amount of vacation, like over 100 hours every year, and regardless of COVID or not. This isn't on the agenda, so you really can't make a decision though, but the policy says that we're gonna cap it and basically people won't be able to, they'll lose vacation on July 1. If you wanted to have a discussion about not capping it or making an exception for certain employees, I would just kind of need your consensus now so we don't go forward with that July 1 date where people are losing vacation if you wanted to change the policy for this one time in certain instances. The other thing I will tell you, and I don't want to get into the weeds too much, but we did, and this is before COVID-19, but we did cut off deputies who are capped under state law. And under state law, their leave runs calendar year to calendar year versus and our leave and our policy runs fiscal year to fiscal year. So I'm not looking for you to make a decision as to what you're going to do tonight, but if you have any interest in discussing that further and us putting it on another agenda, I need to know so I can tell our payroll people to wait until you have the chance to discuss it and make whatever decision you decide you're going to make.
Hey, Stephanie, this is Josh. So
Mhm.
just based on what occurred with the pandemic, I don't think we should penalize employees. I mean, I would support extending the rollover for this one instance, but knowing the next fiscal year, that is going back to the same amount as normal. So you'd have to use those allowable, more so rolled over days this year. You couldn't carry them to the following year. This is a one-time only exception because of the pandemic. That's my prerogative.
Yeah, and if, like I said, I don't think you can make a decision tonight because I didn't put on the agenda. It's just something that I realized
That's my
today was going to
opinion.
be an issue.
I'm not making a
Yeah,
decision
okay.
or a motion. I'm just saying that's my opinion.
Okay.
Well, if we have to have a special election, a special session soon to certify the total election slate, maybe this would be something even, hopefully they would be done by the end of June and we could,
Okay.
make a formal motion on this matter.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
just hate to have it go past the deadline date with no decision. So if that's
Okay.
possible, we could do
Okay.
that.
Yeah, we could, we're going to have to schedule, we are going to have to schedule a special session to certify. I can't imagine that we would not certify until July. So yeah, we could discuss it then.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a lengthy discussion and I can get you some more information about how many employees it is. Like I said, there are several different situations. There are some employees who didn't take leave, but they were getting administrative leave with pay 2 days a week from us.
Yeah.
But then there are some employees who just couldn't take their leave and accrued it. And we did, like I said, in December, we took some we capped their leave and took some leave away from them, but it is capped pursuant to state code. So hopefully we'll have a discussion at the when we notice the meeting for the certification. I'll put this issue on there unless anybody has any objection to that.
Yep. That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Let's move back to item number 4 on the agenda, and that is interviews and appointments to the Jefferson County Development Authority for the City of Charlestown representative. We have 3 that have been put forth from the City of Charlestown: Todd Coyle, Michael George, and James Cradaville. Stephanie, are they online and available for interview?
So we have Todd Coyle, we have Michael George. I do not see Mr. Cradaville.
Okay. Well, we're definitely, on time or 5 minutes running behind on the agenda. So I think we can move forward unless I hear any objections. Okay. Mr. Coyle, you're the first one on my list. Are you there?
He's here,
Mr. Coyle?
but he's self-muted.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you
it
go.
is.
All
Okay.
right. Great.
This is a new system for me, so yeah.
Yeah, well, we've used this a couple of times. I'm still learning myself and trying to adjust.
Yeah.
So you're one of the names put forth by the City of Charlestown. I'll open the floor to my fellow commissioners to ask you questions. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, this is Patsy. Mr. Coyle, I'll go first if you don't mind. I just want you to tell us why you want to serve on the Development Authority and what are your goals moving forward on the Development Authority if you were to be selected.
Well, I just got on the Ag Committee a couple weeks ago, and my goal is to support local and small farms and small businesses. That's kind of what I do anyway. And given that it's being restructured and there's going to be some new direction to it, I thought it'd be a good time to get involved and see where it goes or be of service. I've done small business and stuff around here for a long time and have a little bit of an idea of how that works. And after being on the council for the last couple of years, got a real insight to some of the JCCBA, and I don't know, just thought I could help.
Well, that's great. The other question that I have for you is our meetings are, I serve on the Development Authority, and our meetings are held the third Tuesday of the month. And as well, as you are aware, you serve on the Ag Committee, there are several different subcommittees of the Development Authority, and they meet at different times too. Would your schedule allow you to be active and to be able to serve on those committees and attend those meetings as necessary?
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, unless
Okay.
you're requiring me to be there every day or to do stuff, but it's good.
No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I
Any other commissioners have questions for Mr. Coyle?
Jane, just one quick thing. Mr. Coyle, this is Commissioner Compton. What is
Okay.
your viewpoint on large-scale solar farms on farmland?
Large scale solar farm. Wow, interesting question. I'm all for solar. I love the idea of expanding into that, and I would have to see the project and see the effect or of what and where the farmland would be. And but in concept, I'm all for it.
So like for instance, I mean, say for instance, like 300 acres on a piece of farmland with solar panels. You're okay with something like that?
I'm okay with looking into it and seeing what that entails. 300 acres of solar panels seems like a lot. So I don't know how many homes would that serve. What would the cost be? What effect would it have on the environment with that many solar panels in one area like that? So I would be for looking into the possibility of it. Sure.
All right, thanks. I know it's a very interesting question. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mr. Lorenzetti or Commissioner Hudson?
I had a question as what subcommittees is he on in the city council?
Parks and Recs and streets. And I just got off of personnel because we got a new councilman and we needed him somewhere. And I just got on the Ag Committee on JCDA, so I just kind of switched committees.
Commissioner Hudson, do you have a question for Mr. Coyle?
Not at this time.
Okay. Mr. Coyle, do you, what are your thoughts on, and maybe you've already done this, I don't know, on the need, on the possibility of the need to, or the request to sign a non-disclosure agreement?
You mean by anybody like who comes into the county or big business? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I guess it's being on the
for me.
JCDA.
Oh, yeah, okay.
JCDA, yes.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions from fellow commissioners? Thank you, Mr. Coyle.
You bet.
And Commissioner Shab, we also have Michael George is online as well.
Okay. Mr. George, can you hear me? Mr. George, this is Commissioner Tab. Are you there?
He's unmuted
Hmm.
and he popped
Hello,
up.
hello.
Oh, there he is.
There it is.
Hello. Okay, there we are.
Yeah, there. Okay, couldn't hear you. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
a
Challenging times, challenging times.
yes, and we're all learning how to use these tools better or more effectively. This is
Seems like every organization I have has a different platform. I'm learning them
right.
all.
Well, of course, you know, we are interviewing the 3 individuals put forth by the city of Charlestown for to sit on the JCDA. I'm going to open the floor to my fellow commissioners to ask you a question
All
if
right.
they have questions for you.
Sorry, my phone's ringing. Let me undo it. So, Mike, I'll go first, if you don't mind. This is Patsy Nolan. Let me hang my phone up. This is Patsy Nolan, and I just have a couple of questions for you. I just would like to know, I'll ask you the same thing that I asked Todd Coyle. And what are your goals and expectations if you were to be selected to serve on the Development Authority?
Well, my goals is to be assume an active role and seek leadership positions in the JCDA as appropriate. Try to maintain regular and frequent dialogue with other JCDA appointments. Try to incorporate Charlestown Comprehensive Plan when appropriate. Try to inform the city Charlestown City Council on what's going on at the JCDA, because I know sitting on the Charlestown City Council, I've heard very little most of the time, except when things get really heated. That's the only time I hear anything sometimes. So I want to try to communicate, have some communication back to the City Council and, eventually to the city residents, so they know what JCDA is doing, as long as, I'm allowed, as long as it's not under an NDA. I'm willing, I'll answer that right now. I'm willing to sign an NDA. I've done it for work. It's not an unusual thing, as long as it's written correctly. I'll read it over before I sign it, obviously. And mostly, try to help out the small businesses while also bringing in some larger tax base shops or light industry.
Okay, and as far as attendance is concerned, those meetings are held the 3rd Tuesday. In addition to that, there are other committee meetings that also, it's a very active organization, and we're working on a strategic plan. And so the attendance, I just have a question about attendance. Are you able to attend afternoon meetings? And sometimes the other committee meetings are held in the evening. So would you have a problem attending the meetings?
I'm usually pretty flexible. If I know about it a week beforehand, I usually can work my schedule out. Right now, I'm very flexible. I'm sitting in my home most of the days. I do work in Reston when the pandemic is not going on, but right now I'm obviously just working from home, so I'm extremely flexible right now.
Okay, great. Thanks. That's all I have.
Hey, Mr. George, this is Commissioner Compton. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Quick question. What is your current role at CTUB right now?
CTUB, I'm essentially rolling out. My position was as a essentially to work on the merger of the 3 utilities to one. That was my original role, and then I kind of just hung around for a lot longer. Now that Mr. Tester is moving over, he's going to be taking over that responsibility to sit in the meetings and to inform the city council what's going on.
Okay, great. And
I'll still stick around every once in a while. So I put all that effort into it. I might as well keep an eye on it.
And then my question, there's a fire truck coming by me, sorry.
Of course there is. There's always a fire truck.
Okay, quick other question. What's your view on large scale solar farms, like a few hundred acres on farmland?
Wow, I just read a newspaper article about that in the Spirit. I wonder if it's coming up on your docket soon. I'm not opposed and I'm not against it because I think it's more of a case-by-case basis. Because if that farmland goes to residentials, it's going to be very difficult to convert it back to a farmland. However, a solar farm would be easier to convert back to a farm if the prices change. And so generally, I guess I'm more for than against.
All right, thanks.
Mhm.
That's all.
Other commissioners? Go ahead,
Mr.
Ralph.
Florenzetti. Sir, two questions. One, what is your professional background? And two, what committees are you on in the city council?
I'm currently a supervisory physical scientist with the U.S. Geologic Survey, National Mineral Information Center. Essentially, I'm a trained mineral economist. I track my group now, I'm in charge of a group of people that track world supply and demand of non-ferrous metals, so gold, silver, copper, nickel, lead, zinc, and a whole bunch of minor metals, and also specialize in critical mineral analysis. So that's what I do during my day. And for the city council, I'm currently the chair of the personnel committee, and I also have served as a liaison for the Charlestown Utility Board for several years. And I've also been on the finance committee and other standing committees.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Hudson, do you have any questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, Mr. George, I'd never heard of a mineral economist before, so.
We're very rare and we're a dying breed, I guess, because not too many
Okay.
programs still exist, but yeah.
Well, I'm sure that has its own set of skills and talents
Mhm.
that you possess, and what skills and talents do you bring to the JCDA that are applicable from your background?
Well, I do have a tendency to when something's presented to me to see it to the end. So I do have when I do get appointed to any board or commission or anything like that, I put my energy into it. I do the research, I go to the meetings, and I'm usually pretty active in trying to figure out the solutions for all the problems. In my educational background, I have GIS background, I have micro and macroeconomic backgrounds, I have international economics background. So I have a lot of cost benefit analysis background. So I have a lot of that kind of, I could converse freely in those subjects, and I could understand what some of these people are talking about. Not all of them, because some of them were a little bit weird, but for the most part, I'm pretty outgoing, friendly. I try not to let things get under my skin too much. Being a politician, you have to kind of do that a little bit. So that's what I
Oh,
bring.
yes, I understand exactly what you're saying there on that last part.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so much. Any other questions for Mr. George? Well, thank you for participating in this interview process, Mr. George.
Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. And have a good evening.
Okay, we will.
All right, bye.
Bye. Stephanie, still no contact with Mr. Credible?
No, ma'am. And I've checked the attendee list just to make sure that he's not there, and he's not, and I don't see him in our staff list either.
Okay. Are commissioners ready to move forward and have some nominations for the position?
Yeah, I'm ready to move forward, except I will say that it's a very difficult decision because I think both gentlemen have a lot of knowledge, and I think both of them would make a good board member on the Development Authority. However, I'm leaning toward Mr. Coyle because he already sits on the Agricultural Committee, and I think that you know, he would also make a good board member. So I'm going to nominate Todd Coyle.
Any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, Patsy, would you like to put forth your nominee in a motion?
Yes, I will. I nominate Todd Coyle to serve on the Development Authority for the, let's see, I don't have the time frame in front of me right now. For
3-year term ending.
Yes,
2023.
2020.
Sorry.
Right, got it. Okay, so that's my motion.
All right.
Second.
Okay, the motion before us to appoint Mr. Todd Coyle as the City of Charlestown representative to the Jefferson County Development Authority for a 3-year term ending April 5th, 2023. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Thank you, both individuals that interviewed with us tonight, and Mr. Cradwell for having his name submitted. We always need volunteers to step forward. All righty. Let's see. We have county commissioner reports.
Commissioner Tab.
Sure.
There's under that, and it's hard to see, there's an update on the Shepherdstown JCDA representative. So they nominated one person, Mr. Gatz, who I think is currently serving on the JCDA, but they did not give us 3 names. I'd be happy to reach out to Mayor Oxer and ask him for 2 more names, or I don't know if you just want to take action on the 1 name. But so we did receive something from Shepherdstown, but it only had 1 name, and under the code section, they're supposed to provide us with 3 individuals, potential candidates.
Well, may I?
Go ahead.
Okay, I think they need to follow the law, just like Charlestown has. I think we set a precedent by moving forward with this recommendation without having 3 names. And so I think we do need to reach out to Shepherdstown and ask them to submit 3 names, just like everyone else has to.
I totally agree with
I
that.
don't have any problem with that, but the question is the gentleman still serve while we're waiting? Is he already on the committee?
Yes, he is. Yeah. And he's very active. You know, he's really a good committee member. But if we're going to follow the law here, we need to follow the law. That's my only issue.
I'm in agreement with Patsy on that. How do any other commissioners feel?
I agree with Patsy as well.
Yep, that's how it should be.
Okay. So I guess, Stephanie, you need to make contact with the mayor and town council, and we need 3 names nominated.
I will do that.
Okay. All right. Moving on to county commissioner reports. Who wants to start?
I'll go if it's okay.
Sure.
Mine's fairly quick. So Parks and Rec had a meeting last night via Zoom. No surprise here, they're in some financial trouble, as we all know, to the point of even looking at a line of credit potentially at a local bank and using some of their parks they owned as collateral potentially, which it sounds like they legally can do that. I talked to State Auditor McCuskey and others. So I think at some point they may be making an agenda request to the county commission and asking for money potentially. So I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. That may be coming down the pipeline. But other than that, they got a grant approved for a big new playground at I think it's Hyde Park. Should be built and open by fall 2020. So that's good news. But the financial issues currently are not the greatest. I have a solid waste authority meeting Monday night, so that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Other commissioners?
Yes, I'll go. I had an executive committee meeting with the JCDA on the 10th. I had on June 11th, I had a government a legislative meeting, which I didn't make, but it was scheduled anyway. On Monday, of course, I spent the day with our fellow commissioners canvassing the election until 10 minutes to 5. That went very well, thanks to the county clerk staff and all of the poll workers and those that were there today, that day. At a JCDA regular board meeting on June 16th and a CVB meeting via Zoom. All of these meetings have been via Zoom yesterday afternoon. And that's all I have to report. Oh, by the way, I do want to say one more thing about the JCDA Business and Marketing Committee. We are making great strides. I think we're in the very preliminary stages of coming up with ideas to become self-sufficient and not depend so much on county commission revenue. It's been my goal as a county commissioner serving on that board to make that happen, and we have we're moving forward on some ideas. We'll see where they land, but we're working hard on that initiative. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lorenzetti or Hudson?
The last week we had a board meeting of the day report, and I'm going to apologize here. We did discuss and vote on the replacement for Miss Eddy, and it's a woman who works there now, and I apologize, I do not have her name in front of me, and I can't think of, but they are going to present her to the commission shortly, and Rhonda is going to, I don't know if it's step down, but she's going to become sort of financial officer there for a while to help out in a transition.
Okay, well, Miss Eddy is going to a well-deserved retirement, and she certainly blazed some trails with the Day Report Center, so we'll miss her, but I'm glad she's able to retire and do some of that traveling that she and Jim have been talking about. Commissioner Hudson, do you have anything to share?
The only thing really of note was the canvas on Monday, which was a joy hanging out with y'all, seeing you in person. But besides that, not much.
Okay, yes, it was nice to see real flesh and blood faces and hear people talk, even though we were wearing masks and trying to stay 6 feet away from everyone. But yes, the vote canvas, I was very happy we could get that done in one day. I
I
participated
think Caleb
too.
will make a great poll worker.
You've been volunteered, Caleb, whether you want it or not. I did miss an Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority meeting because I was at Vote Canvas, but that's all right. But what's interesting is they're ramping back up their service while still trying to be compliant with the regulations on social distancing. And of course, that all is challenging because it depends on the size of the bus, and you've got to include the driver in the count and so forth. So, and they're not charging. They're still not charging on their regular bus routes. So that's amazing that they can do that. But they're doing their best to serve the public every which way they can. Our last 2 ESA meetings have been super short. We've done them all by virtual meetings. And the biggest and the best news is that all the staff has been healthy and nobody's come down with COVID or anything that could cause problems. But it was announced at the meeting this week was that fire and rescue will meet in July. They had stopped a meeting once the COVID issue raised its ugly head. And all I know right now, we'll meet in July. The date and location is to be determined. So that's good news. And also, I'm not there every day, but I try to at least listen on our task force. I don't know if that's the right term, but our conference call in the afternoon to keep up to date on the latest happenings and status due to COVID-19 in the county and in our surrounding jurisdictions. Does anyone have anything they want to add before we conclude our meeting?
I just want to let, since you said task force, I just want to let you know that I am continuing to have weekly meetings with the task force that we created with the cities and some other representatives in the community. And we continue to meet weekly to discuss, you know, how we're approaching it and making sure that we're all on the same page. So we had, most recently, we were discussing playgrounds. We wanted to make sure that we were all opening it at the same time, that we were doing the same thing. And then we did discuss I've been trying to help, especially some of the smaller towns that don't have the staff. We talked about CARES reimbursement and how we approach that. So we continue to meet weekly to discuss the issues that are affecting the towns and also businesses. So I just want to give you an update that we're continuing to do that. And I think it's been working well.
Yeah, I would just add that I think that meeting has been very helpful just to share information about where we are in the various stages of both the C-19 and also the reopening, because sometimes it's kind of confusing as to what the exact status of the law is, I guess. So it's been very helpful, I believe, for our community to be able to have a resource for the mayors and Stephanie to go to be sure that we're all understanding the law the same.
Yeah, yes, it is very confusing. The policy guidelines change for different activities, and I've had, citizens question, and I always refer them to the health department or talk about it at the task force, because I'm certainly no expert on all these different guidelines. Stephanie, that reminded me, and I know you have a lot of things on your plate, but the money that the county received that we have in, in the bank or in savings, you were going to develop a grant program, and I know you haven't had time to do that, but just wondered where you are.
I do have a form. It actually, I meant to get that out yesterday, actually, and you triggered my memory that I have to do that. So I do have a little bit of a basic form developed for them, and we'll send it out on our alerts. I'll send it out to the task force because they are very interested in that. I know that on our last meeting with the task force, Annette Gavin mentioned that Harper's Ferry, because the historical park isn't open, they, for sanitation issues, bought some porta pots that wasn't in their budget, but there are people funneling into Harper's Ferry with no place to go inside the buildings because the park buildings continue to be closed. And they were curious whether they could ask for CARES Act reimbursement, and I think that they can, but they could also, I think that would be eligible to ask for that 100,000 from that as well. And I'll also send it out to our component units, though I know that the ESA was a concern, and I know that Michelle submitted for our CARES Act reimbursement. So the first deadline was supposed to be June 15th, and that reimbursement for the CARES Act funding that flows through the state was supposed to be submitted by June 15th. They did extend that deadline to June 30th, but we got ours in by June 15th, and we did submit on behalf of all of our component agencies that request. So we submitted the request for the ESA's PPE that they've purchased that wasn't anticipated in their budget. We submitted that for the ESA, and if we get that reimbursement, we'll reimburse it back to the ESA. The component units, Michelle discovered, are not able to make the request on their own. They have to make it through their controlling government, and that would be us. So, and when I say we, I mean Michelle did all of that. So she submitted the request for CARES. We had a little bit of a discussion about what we were going to ask for and what would be appropriate to ask for, but she submitted all of that by June 15th. But I don't think we'll be seeing any of that money until at least the June 30th deadline, because they have extended that window. And that first window, I don't know if I said this, but it was from March 1st to April 30th is the first. So we have made our request from March 1st to April 30th. And then the next deadline will be through May 30th.
All right, thank you for that update. Anything
Jane?
else? Yes,
Jane, this is Ralph.
right.
Josh had brought up the solar, and I should point out that on the 23rd, the Planning Commission is having a meeting on two issues. One is the solar, and the other is the Greenway modifications to the rules and regulations. So I just want to point that out. And also, I think next Wednesday, I'm going to the workforce quarterly meeting in Moorfield. And that's the end of my report.
Okay. Have I covered everybody now? Any other business to come before us? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Motion before us is to adjourn without objection. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye.